Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 30 Sec. 2 of Jane Eyre, an autobiography.
As.
Ah.
Jane Eyre, an autobiography. Brontë. Chap. 30 Sec. 2. Predestination. Reprobation more frequent. And each reference to these points sounded like a sentence pronounced for doom. What he had done. Instead of feeling bitter, comma, more enlightened by his discourse, I experienced an inexpressible sadness. Disappointment were troubling impulses of insatiate yearnings and disquieting aspirations. I was sure street, John Rivers lived. Conscientious. Celeste as he was had not he found that peace of God which passeth all understanding. He had no more found it. I thought. Regrets to which I have latterly avoided referring. What which possessed me and tyrannized over me ruthlessly. Meantime a month was gone. Diana and Mary were soon to leave Moorhouse. I returned to the far different life and scene which awaited them. As governesses in a large, fashionable, South of England city, regarded only as humble dependents, and who neither knew nor sought out their innate excellences. The taste of their waiting woman, Mr. Straight for me. Yet it became urgent that I should have a vocation of some kind. One morning, being left alone with him a few minutes in the parlour, I ventured to approach the window where stood his table. Sure, and just consecrated a kind of study, and I was going to speak. He saved me the trouble by being the first to commence the dialogue. Looking up as I drew near, I have a question to ask of me, he said. It. I found or devised something for you 3 weeks ago. To you. And they will go in 3 days now, I said. It. And when they go, I shall return to the parsonage at Morton. Hannah will accompany me. I waited a few moments, expecting he would go on with the subject first broached, but he seemed to have entered another train of reflection. His look denoted abstraction from me and my business. Close and anxious interest me. What is the employment you had in view? Mr. Progress. Well, no. Since it is an employment which depends only on me to give. He again paused. There seemed a reluctance to continue. I grew impatient. A restless movement or two, and an eager and exacting glance fastened on his face, conveyed a feeling to him as effectually as words could have done, and with less trouble. You need be in no hurry to hear, he said. Let me frankly tell you, I have nothing eligible or profitable to suggest. Before I explain, recall, if you please, my notice, clearly going, that if I helped you, it must be as the blind man would help the lame. I am poor, for I find that, when I have paid my father's debts, all the patrimony remaining to me will be this crumbling grange, the row scath for his mind, and the patch of moorish soil, with yew trees and holly bushes in front. I am obscure. Rivers is an old name, but of the three descendants of the race, two are in the dependence crest among strangers, and the third considers himself an alien from his native country not only for life, but in death. And deems, and is bound to deem, himself honoured by the lot, be laid on his shoulders. And when the head of that church militant of whose humblest members he is one, shall give the word, eyes, stir. John said these words as he pronounced the summons, with a quiet, deep voice, with an unflushed cheeked, and a coruscating radiance of glance. He resumed, and since I am myself poor and obscure, I can offer you but a service of poverty and obscurity. World calls refined. Your tastes lean to the ideal, and your society has at least been amongst the educated. But I consider that no service to grades which can better our race. Of tillage is appointed and scanty the means Jill brings with high the honour. Is, under such circumstances, is the destiny of the pioneer. And the first pioneers of the gospel were the apostles of their captain was Jesus, the Redeemer. Well, I said. He looked at me before he proceeded. Indeed, he seemed leisurely to read my face, as if its features and lines were characters on a page. The conclusions drawn from this scrutiny he partially expressed in his succeeding observations. I believe you will accept the post I offer you, said he, and hold it for a while. Not permanently. Any more than I could permanently keep the narrow and narrowing tranquil hidden office of English country incumbent. For in your nature is no way as detrimental to repose as that in mine. Do explain, I urged, when he halted once more. I will, and you shall hear how the proposal is trivial how cramping. I shall not stay long at Morton, now that my father is dead, and that I am my own master. I shall leave the place probably in the course of a 12-month. But while I do stay, I will exert myself to the utmost for its improvement. Morton, when I came to it 2 years ago, had no school. The children of the poor were excluded from every hope of progress. I established one for boys. I mean now to open a second school for girls. I have hired a building for the purpose, with a cottage of 2 rooms attached to it for the mistress's house. Her salary will be £30 a year. Her house is already furnished, very simply, but sufficiently, by the kindness of a lady, Miss Oliver, the only daughter of the sole rich man in my parishioner. Oliver, the proprietor of a needle factory and iron foundry in the valley. The same lady pays for the education and clothing of an orphan from the workhouse, to discharge in prison. He put the question rather hurriedly. He seemed half to expect an indignant, or at least a disdainful rejection of the offer, not knowing all my thoughts and feelings, though guessing some. He could not tell in what light the lot would appear to me. In truth it was humble, but then it was sheltered, and I wanted a safe asylum. It was plodding about then, compared with that of governess in a rich house. It was independent, and the fear of servitude with strangers into my soul like iron. It was not einable it unworthy and mentally degrading. I made my decision. I thank you for the proposal. Waste. To be continued.